We're live.
Good morning, guys, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check. It is June 16th, 2023. I'm Snorlax. You guys also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Max Tucker and Will's Outlook. We're going to be giving you guys all of our outlooks on the market today as far as crypto, macro. We've had a big week. It is kind of the conclusion of that big week, right? We have uh, June OPEX, quarterly OPEX is expected to be quite notable as far as, volatility flows go. At least that's, what I have read. I would love to know if, Tucker has more on that later in the show, but it's definitely been a crazy week in equities. We tapped 4450 on the SPX. We haven't shown any weakness yet materially to insinuate that we're going lower. But I do know that this OPEX has been talked about pretty heavily over the last few weeks. So, maybe its effect is diminished as a result. Who knows? At least that's kind of how I remember March. But yeah, no, I imagine there'll be probably a ton of shenanigans as far as options pricing goes today. We're going to have a lot of intraday movement on the VIX. The way IV for um, you know, our puts and calls are priced. But I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on options pricing. I'm just giving some additional commentary into OPEX, right? We've had CPI as well, FOMC. Crypto had a nuke earlier this week, squeezed back up, trading above 25.4. Will we hold it or not? I'm sure we're going to talk about that as well, but I'm sure if you've been watching us this week, you've definitely noticed that Bitcoin dominance is trading near 49.5%. Just getting started by all estimations, at least in our opinion. And I'm sure we'll get into that as well as some altcoin setups that I think are I think there are some altcoin setups showing some signs of intrigue. And I've taken a punt on a few. And then I also want to talk to you guys about a few altcoins that are doing the exact opposite, like Matic. Which has been basically down only for the last 36 hours. I know a lot of that has to do with the fact that people are trying to front run those flows from Celsius that are expected in July. Um, yeah, no, I mean, it's just been just a reflection of the year, right? Another wild week of markets. Binance, Coinbase, FOMC, CPI, you name it, this week had it. But Max, in review of this week, what are you kind of thinking, like in the wake of, we've had some pretty nice volatility this week across the board.
Yeah, we certainly have. I'm not really looking to do too much positioning today, unless we start to get some momentum. But Bitcoin's in a really weird spot right now. Um, I can see a really solid case for both directions. That is. I do have some short exposure, short alts and long Bitcoin. Short from higher, long from lower, so it's a good spot to be in. Um, but it feels a little bit uncomfortable, and I see, sentiment is a bit split. We have members of our team that think 21, 22 is on the table soon, and we also have a guy on this call who thinks that, mid to upper 30s is on the table in the not so distant future. So I want to get into all the specifics as to why that is. I won't take up too much time in the very beginning. But you are right. I mean, we are seeing across the board a plethora of alts that they just cannot seem to find a floor. And we've talked about this Bitcoin dominance trade now for weeks, and it's great to see it finally materializing. And I know a lot of us and people in our community and our Discord have been putting on the Bitcoin dominance trade or slowly beginning to build it. Um, but this little push up in Bitcoin dominance, I think we're still under 50%. I mean, we saw a little bit of a pop last night, but I mean, this is a Bitcoin dominance squeeze for ants at this point. Really what I'm looking for would be over the next, let's say, minimum 45 to 60 days, basically through the end of the year. I would anticipate and expect Bitcoin dominance to basically turn on the jets and probably head north of 57, 58. I would ultimately like to see it above 60%. So, like we've talked about before, I think you still have a pretty awesome opportunity to really just sort of pull almost like, again, don't actually do this, right? Unless you want to just gamble, but you pull 10 names out of a hat. Pull your 10 put 100 alts in a hat, and just pull 10 out, short those alts and long some Bitcoin. And my feeling at this point in time is that it's probably going to perform pretty well if you can diamond hand it, because I think that Bitcoin dominance is going to do very well. And regardless of what happens with US dollar denominated prices, whether the bulls are correct and Bitcoin makes that final push up to 36 to 40K, or the bears are right and we head back down to low 20s or the teens, I think no matter what happens, no matter which extreme, and maybe neither happen, right? Maybe we just range, but no matter which extreme were to happen, Bitcoin is going to be the bet. Bitcoin picking up valuation against altcoins is going to be the bet. So, we're watching very closely. We're waiting to see what happens here, but I'm pretty convicted that now is not the time to buy your favorite altcoin. Not even close. But with that said, there are, in the famous words of Jim Cramer, there's always a bull market somewhere. And there are some altcoins that actually do look good for bounces or squeezes across the board. And we've talked about the psychology of bottoming numerous times across different asset classes. For example, we go back to, this is my favorite example when it comes to something finding a bottom before the basket does. So during the dot-com crash between 2000 and 2002, on the final capitulatory leg down, the S&P 500 took about a 30% plunge over a 1 year period of time. During that same 1 year period of time, Amazon, which again was not at the time was not in the S&P 500, it was still a very small company, rallied 200%, while the S&P 500 dropped 30% over a 1 year period of time. So just because I think that Total 3 or the altcoin basket is destined for a date with 250 billion market cap or potentially lower, and Bitcoin dominance has a date with significantly higher, probably 60% or above, doesn't mean that there aren't individual altcoins that can perform extremely well during those conditions, because they can. And I think, Tommy, you may have identified one of them, but I'm not going to spoil it. I'll let you talk about that. So those are my opening thoughts. Happy to be here as always. Lots to talk about, and happy Friday.
Thanks, Max. Yeah, no, I see that Haggard's already playing around with some charts, so I'm gonna go right to him, get a feel for what he's looking at. And yeah, we can talk about some alt setups in a minute. But yeah, no, Haggard, what are you looking at?
Yeah, no, this is just did we go over this the other day? I can't remember. I've been looking at this for a few days, but it's just the S&P info.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
I mean,
Oh no. Tucker.
You better call Starlink.
Oh man.
my connection is unstable.
Oh, dude. Okay. Let's see the
Okay.
guns, man. Wow, look at this guy. He is. We can.
All right.
All right, here. Try again. I think I can hear you now. It cut out for a second.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. You want me to share your chart?
Oh yeah.
All right, we're going over to Tucker's chart, everybody. We're gonna take a field trip. All right, Tucker, you're live.
I mean, the chart kind of speaks for itself here. S&P info stocks above 50-day moving average. You got the S&P down below. No, it doesn't mean this has to be a top, and it doesn't mean it has to top today, but it does in general mean that we're probably going to, like we did down here, maybe distribute for a little bit while we hang out up here. Little distribution up here. It's just saying things are probably overextended, and a lot of these things probably need to be reset. Because if I go look at some other ones, like this is pretty telling, but if I go look at this one, well, actually, it's getting in the danger zone now too.
Is this the Nasdaq?
Yeah. Okay. So that's the Nasdaq. That's the Nasdaq.
This is
So
Nasdaq percentage of stocks above the 50-week moving average.
50-day.
Oh,
Yeah.
50-day moving average. Okay.
Yeah. So we're getting into the heated zone, and then the Russell, I think we're getting there. Like this was. we kind of topped here and it was kind of a grind, but like if you're looking for a big top like that, you got to get up into like 82, 83, somewhere up here. So, some of these have some room, right? Like even the just S&P just overall has got room, like this is what I'm talking about, though, which is distributing up here, right? Just like we can hang out down here in like 74, 75, whatever, distribute, kind of grind, but it's tough because even this one, you know what I mean? Like we only made it to 74, and that was a tough. So this is just confluence, just trying to see how heated it is, trying to see how overextended the rally is. But yeah, it's kind of mixed signals though, because some of it, you could say it's got some room to run. But then the info stocks are pretty heated. So this is one more. This is the 20-day. 20-day moving average. It's a little there's less signal here. I think there's a lot less signal here. So just some things to look at, but yeah, I mean in general I favor a pullback after a move like that, like
Yeah.
like how could you not?
What I've been telling people in
Yeah.
the
So I mean I would go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say what I've been telling people, like everyone knows I had some long exposure. I was long SPY in the Russell. We closed those out for some big winners. And I've been mostly cash since then. And what I've been telling people is like even if we continue to go up, let's say we went to 4,600, I would still be sidelined and I would wait to bid a pullback to 4,450. Even if it means buying higher than here, I want to be a participant in bidding the higher low market structure because I don't want to chase a parabola. And that's what we're sort of teetering with, classifying this as like a lower time frame parabola. I mean, this is becoming pretty frothy. So it's like, yes, momentum is likely to continue. This is not something you want to fade. But yeah, exactly. Like I would welcome something like that. I'm just not going to chase a parabola, even if it continues without me, because it's dangerous. It's like, where do you invalidate yourself? You could potentially pull back 250 points and still be in an uptrend. It's dangerous.
I was told yesterday to just buy anywhere, and it just keeps going.
Who told you that?
Somebody told me. I can't tell you names, but
Yeah.
I was
I
told
think I
that
know who
yesterday.
it was.
Yeah, I think I know who it was too.
Yeah. No, but that's what I've been looking at most recently. But yeah, Will, I wanna hear some more about your what 38K Bitcoin.
And real quick before Will goes, I'm sorry, I have a favor to ask of the audience. We got 25 people in here. We got 5 likes on the video. If you guys could please just do me a favor and hit that like button for us real quick. Rumor has it it's really good for the algorithm and it really helps the video get pushed in the channel. So if you are enjoying this, and if you are here watching, it'd be great if we could get to maybe 10 to 15 likes. That'd be pretty cool. So if you guys could do us that solid, we would be very much appreciative. So thank you guys. And thanks everybody for tuning in. It's great to see everybody here this morning. All right, Will, you are the man in the title. Will says Bitcoin to 36.7K. Will, you might be alone on this one. You might not be. I want you to convince me because I'm not entirely sure I can see it both sides. I personally have a little bit of long Bitcoin exposure, but maybe not enough if that's actually the case. So, Will, talk to me, man. Almost 40K.
I mean, we'll get up there. I think like 35 to 37 range. I try not to overreach on my thesis. I try not to be too ambitious on my moves because I think a lot of people already are, so I don't need to be. But I would say as far as price, I mean, I don't know. Are you showing my chart or are you showing
I can show your chart. Should we show your chart?
Yeah.
All right, give me a second. And Will, you are live.
Okay. This is the exact scenario I was talking about yesterday. And I told you guys, like, look, I was like, they could pull underneath here. I was like, but they need to commit to this move on the weekly underneath my resistance, right? And what did they do? They pulled price right back above it. and they're validating my exact thesis, right? This is all they're doing. They're basically validating what I'm saying. We got a slowing move to the downside. We got no flushes, right? Really, the only flush you had was your high flush up here, right? This is your high flush, and then you're starting to slow. You're starting to slow. So what this is telling me is that they flushed up here, got everybody out, and then they started rolling over. And really, they're looking to probably come back. Now, it's not going to be around, I don't think. I think it's going to be just like the previous ones. It's going to be one of these big old moves as far as impulse waves. They're going to entice buying up here. I think there's another wave. And here's the thing, if they're going to impulse, they're going to get above previous high. It's going to happen. So if they're going to get above previous high, I mean, if we look at the previous move, above previous high was here to here, right? And then above previous high was here to here. So I would think above previous high is going to be here to here, which is our upper range. Now we could go a little bit higher for sure. Let me switch charts real quick, switch back and forth. There we go. All right, now it's working. We could go a little bit higher, of course, as far as like where price could go, and I would just anticipate it would be two zones that they're looking for specifically would be this upper zone and this lower zone. Either one of these could really be the target price. And why do I say that either one of these could be the target price versus just the lower zone? Because I believe this right here was a deviation below the low, right? It's where price kind of dipped into previous price, jumped back up, found support above, and then rolled back up to the high here and tried to break out, but from that lower high here. I think in the end, the target move here was to, ultimately get to here. And I can support this thesis as far as getting to here, but I don't think that we achieve it ultimately. I think we achieve this fifth wave right here. And then from this fifth wave, we kind of roll back. I think a lot of people are targeting this where this is the realistic target. Now, if we look at Bitcoin's previous history on like the BLX, for instance, we'll just open that up real quick. All right. Sorry, I didn't have this prepared, but I just thought about this. All previous history, typically somewhere's in the accumulation range. You do top out towards that upper range.
Will,
So
can you
we can
make
see
that?
right
Can
here.
you make that a line chart? Because the candles get a little bit they get a little bit hidden.
Oh yeah, sure. Let me switch this over. Oh, wrong thing.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
a
would
little
be
bit
a
better.
lot.
Thank you.
So we could see right here, and I try to ignore this first part because this is more of where it started, and this is more of where it's kind of been. Now I drew my own channel here. This is not like the Bitcoin rainbow or anything like that. I just drew it based off price. Now, could I be a little bit off? Sure. But if I'm off, that's going to be a bad thing. Because if I'm off and we're actually something like this,
Ooh,
and we're actually something like this, I'd say that's not really ideal. Now, some of you may be like, what do you mean that's not ideal? Because if this is the case, then we missed our top, right? What that would tell me is that we're degrading, right? We're pressing down. So that's why I went the other direction and went with the kind of overage over here and kind of the topping over here. Now, if this is the case, this right here is kind of riding down, and I would say we've kind of hit the bottom, right? Where price is right here. And there's going to be no lower, right? That's what this would mean essentially. And this would be a really good lineup from high to high, low to low. Overall. So it's an interesting thing. But if we're with the other ones the case, then we still do have room for downside, and that downside is basically, what we consider a double bottom, which is price will eventually come back to the low again, but much further out before the halving. And the halving I have marked out right here. Now the halving could come a little sooner, a little later, yada yada, whatever. But if you look at your mid price range too, moving into that, a lot of the time you end up kind of recovering this upper range before you roll over, right? So you come up, you hit the upper range, you form the higher low, you take off. And then over here, we basically rolled down, came up, we took out the previous support, right? And then kind of rolled across it and took off. Now, we could be in that scenario again. This is more 15, 16. That's why when people reference 19, it's like, what do you mean 19? Because 19 would mean it would basically insinuate before the halving, we're going to take a big dump, right? Whereas like if you're looking at 15, 16, you're kind of rolling the high here before the breakout, and then you roll back to kind of retest and then shift away, right? And then we come back again. And if you notice, this market is playing more of the mid range. This market is playing more of the bottom. And what I would anticipate is that this market plays more of the bottom, and the next market plays more of the mid range, right? A higher range on the upper range. And this is just like how things ebb and flow. So like if we were to look at this from like a bigger standpoint, it's kind of like you come to your low, you come to your mid, you come to your low, and you come to your mid. And that would be how I see markets moving forward.
But in the
And you can
short
see,
term,
like-
you still expect mid to upper 30s.
Yeah, because that would still be below our mid, right? It would be something like over here on this range. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I've discussed that scenario too, right? And that's basically that we've just A, B, C'd up here, and now we're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back down. So that would be the opposite of my scenario that I think is gonna occur here. But I think with the current impulse moves, because those are definitely impulse moves on the weekly, that we are looking at a fifth wave incoming for Bitcoin. And I think this slowing of price to the downside is really kind of showing that. We can see right here, we pulled right above support again, right? We got a weekly close, which is going to occur in 2 days and 9 hours. If they close up here, this thing's going to roll back up probably next week, maybe 2 weeks, right? And if you get a face ripper like this, nobody's going to see that coming.
I mean, it really comes down. It seems like the real debate here is crypto going to catch a rotation from the equity froth, or is crypto
That's what I'm thinking.
Or is crypto just waiting for equities to pull back to dump?
But here's the thing. Here's the
Or
thing.
is crypto leading?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Crypto may be leading, in which case you'll see that rotation back into crypto and assets will fall over, aka pull back. And it's liquidity going like this in the bucket, right? Switching between the two. And we saw this yesterday. I talked to you guys about this morning in our GigaChat chat. Is like what we saw was basically all of crypto, the total market, come down to almost that 1 trillion market at that mark, and then instantly get a $40 billion bump. Right? Those type of moves, they're calculated, man. Like it just flat numbers. People are looking for even numbers, investors looking for even numbers where they can shake out the most amount of retail they can before, pulling price back up to entice them back in. Now, they're definitely soaking up the liquidity in this range, I think. But I think they're also, with this slow, degraded drag down, there's a lot of shorts in here.
Tommy, did
There's
you
probably
just
people
Tommy
still
did you
holding their
just
shorts.
Tommy, did you just see that move Bitcoin just did? That was so predatory.
That was
Oh, you mean that pump?
ridiculous, man.
That was so predatory, man. Wow, just a flush and then a squeeze.
And
Yeah.
they got my Bitcoin stops, but my alts are sending, so I don't really care.
Look at the daily here.
What
You got some
alts?
nice pushes there.
What alts are you
Well,
looking at, Tommy?
The alts I called the bottom on yesterday.
Brother.
What's that?
We'll look at the 5-minute chart right now.
5 minute. Hold on.
What frame you have?
Yeah, Tommy, that one's moving, man. I'm not gonna say it, but that one is moving.
Hey, check that out, Max.
I know. I'm looking at it. It's a Chad. Look at that thing. What's Bitcoin dominance doing?
Oh
All right, it's moving up a little bit, not too much. But
Oh, look at that. That's a higher low.
yeah, but see, they might just run both sides of the range here. So like,
They could.
it might
could.
just be a stop. It's in a liquid stop loss hunt. Like, why are we not at
I think they're
26?
gonna retrace this move personally.
Yeah, why are we not at 26 right now after that? They should have been able
But
to
look-
feel that.
They've done this before, right? This isn't some kind of new move. But I can tell you that's a big wick. That's a lot of liquidity they just pumped in there.
I don't know if it's liquidity or it's just OI flushes. I don't think there was like I don't think that's like real demand. I think that was just like I think it was just manipulated to take people's money.
I mean, sure, we can go with that thesis, but eventually, once enough times people get OI flush, they're gonna start buying. You're gonna create buyers by liquidating shorts. People have to hedge their positions.
This is such a strange spot in the chart right now.
No, I know, I agree.
What's Ethereum doing? Nothing too crazy.
Blur
Yeah.
looks nice.
Yeah, that whole selling call strategy on ETH that Tucker, you brought to my attention this week. That like that's a pretty big deal for ETH right now as a whole. Like why there's no volatility in the market.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna point this out one more time. I know a lot of people are looking for alts to get crushed. Look, what did we do on alts? I don't know why I got all this stuff on here.
A lot of alts look like ass, Will.
I know, but what did we do here on alts?
What am I looking at? Is this total 3?
Yep.
I wouldn't call it a double bottom yet, brother.
Oh, it double bottom.
Yeah.
You see, you even saw it. You even saw it. That's why you said it.
Yeah, we'll check back next week on that one, Will. I don't know, man. That's
Oh man, keep watching. I'm telling you.
You think that's a double bottom?
I think it is, man. I really do.
I don't
That
think
would
you
be
can
the
call it a double
cleanest
bottom until
double
you're back
bottom
above
ever.
at least the mid range of that like little consolidation.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. It needs to show more conviction up, right? But I think that where price stopped is really convenient. That's what I'm saying. They came back down, hit liquidity, and they bounced up hard originally. Now they're kind of
Well,
rolling
it's
back into
it's
it.
convenient. Well, it's an obvious place to bounce it. There was previous demand there, but the question is it actually gonna spring up again, or is it just sort of gonna end up like sitting on top of range low or previous demand, and then ultimately we lose it, and then that previous demand or quote unquote double bottom becomes supply. And now everybody that bought there initially or the second round this time is interested in unloading there. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen, by the way. I think the total 3 is going to go probably sub 250 billion market cap. So if that is the case, I mean, look, it's going to bleed more than total, but
You see my bottom right here.
Over, come on
I got
over.
250 on the dot. It's like, come on over.
Come on over.
Oh man.
oh man.
You see this?
Yeah. Wait, are you on your chart, Tucker? Let me move over to
Yeah,
your
he
chart.
is.
Hang on. We're gonna take a field trip over to Tucker's.
Yeah.
All right, Tucker,
Field trip.
you're
Look,
live.
look. I could get with the double bottom. Like we had the big down candle, then we bounced, then we set a lower low. This is what I literally did this. I mean, that gets you your 250, 245, right? Like, because like price was slowing down here. Like it wasn't like boom, boom. It wasn't a V really. Like you had a little bounce and then you kind of V, but like it's a lot of downward momentum. So I mean, I'm thinking somewhere right there. And there's your scoop. And get a little bull div, That's I'd like.
See that's
But-
what I
A bull
like.
div
Like
would
if
be
you were
nice,
to
yeah.
draw a diagonal line across the bottom of those lower lows right there, Tucker.
Yeah,
That's what I'm looking for, is something like that with maybe like a little more aggressive deviation below, so people think we lose it, and then you reclaim it, and that's the one you buy. You know, like something like that, and then you pop back above 245 billion market cap, and that's when you
Yeah.
potentially can start accumulating. That's kind of what I'm looking for in a perfect
That's
scenario.
been my target the whole time. But you can actually drag that all the way back, Tucker. Drag it all the way up.
Like that.
Yeah, that line. Just drag it all the way back to previous price. No, leave all that. Just click the trend line, and then drag it back to your previous price.
I don't know what you mean.
You just switch it back to my screen real quick.
Yeah, switch it back to Will's.
All right, we're taking another field trip. We're going back to Dr. Outlook's screen. Okay, you're live.
This line right here.
They're just big falling
All right.
wedge.
Yeah, that's all it's been.
All right, let's go back
Stop
to
sharing
Tucker
exactly
real quick. I'm
what it
gonna see if Tucker can.
Oh, wait,
Oh
wait,
no,
wait.
you're
let me
not.
sh-
You're not sharing anymore.
He said, wait.
Wait.
You're not in log view though, Tucker. That's the issue you're having.
Yep.
Log.
Yeah,
Yep.
Bill was in
Gotta
log.
turn on that log, man.
Okay.
I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it does reveal a lot.
With crypto, you need to use log, unless you're. I mean, when I'm trading on the low time frames, I don't put it in log. But when you're looking on high time frames, you have to.
What are you thinking? Like,
I don't
that's-
know about that though necessarily. I feel like if you don't have log on, it's almost like a bias check.
Yeah, not having it in log can be very humbling and grounding.
You guys not
I mean,
see the obvious bull flag?
No, that is a real thing though. I would look for that bull flag, the floor to give out, so everyone thinks it's completely over. And
Yeah.
then, over the next 6 months, it recovers and ultimately breaks out. I don't really trade bull flags, but it's like, I mean, sometimes they work, I don't know about 12 trillion on, actually, I mean, yeah, next cycle, I could see 10 trillion market cap for sure.
Yeah, we get that action. Yeah.
I'll settle for 5 right now. I'll settle for 5. But hey, guys, if you're watching, thank you guys for being here. Just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying this, please just give the video a like. It really helps us out, helps push the video, helps us grow as a young channel. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to Because Bitcoin. Again, we're live here every single day. This is Market Check. We are live every single day at the same time. So please, if you are enjoying the programming so far, like the video and consider subscribing to us. Go ahead.
I think
Tucker,
total
you're
two.
back.
Yeah, I think total 2 is a little bit interesting. Like just excluding Bitcoin, you're kind of at a must hold right here. Make it nice and juicy. Yeah. I mean,
Well, see, here's
So,
the thing. Total is in such this is total 2, right?
Yeah.
Total and total 2 paint a much different picture than just Bitcoin. Like if you look at so if you assume this bottoming area is just a big range on all of them, Bitcoin is still above its range high, and total 2 and total 3 never even really broke out above their range highs. They've just been in consolidation, or maybe if you're bullish, your accumulation for multiple months now. But Bitcoin itself paints a much different picture than really the entire basket. Much different.
total one broke out, you could say, right? Like that's
I would.
It deviated. I wouldn't say it broke out. It had a deviation above range high, potentially.
I would also say if you look at total, with a stochastic says up. Stochastic definitely says up.
Dude, Matic looks like it wants to just die. Not to derail what we're talking about, but Matic literally is like.
Now throw it on the
Send it to
monthly.
0 though, man. Send Matic to 0. It's like
Hey, I'm not greedy. I'll take 25 cents. But yeah, 0 can
Look-
come after. That's okay.
Look at that monthly.
look at the 2 week though, brother.
I mean, yeah, the 2 week says down, but it's not going to be that much because if you look at the monthly says up.
Monthly
the
doesn't
week-
say up yet, dude. We could bleed under the
Look at the
20.
stochastic.
Go back to the. Oh wait, what were you just on, Tucker? What was the?
He's on the weekly.
That was the 2 week.
No, 1 week. So the 1 week, I mean, we could bleed 40% while we're underneath the 20 on stochastic in theory.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anytime you're facing down, you can continue down, right? Like that's a for sure. So we could definitely lose more market
So it's
share.
like
But
the
I'm saying
monthly
like
looks up, but like within the larger trend, I think it's pertinent to look at the, to look at the weekly, because we could still remain in an uptrend in regards to stochastic and the momentum could be up in theory, but we could have a huge pullback on the weekly and it wouldn't ultimately affect the monthly too much. But I mean, that weekly is bearish right there.
Look at the 3
yeah,
day.
but that
That's
that
very
weekly could
bearish.
also that could be very much inducing into the capitulation of altcoins too, right?
Man,
Yeah.
I like
Like
3 day literally.
that that may not come from Bitcoin.
Also, I'm gonna show my chart real quick. I want to just give me 1 second. Let me just.
I'm not
change.
gonna lie, I don't think that's gonna dip too much more.
I mean, look
Yep.
at look at what we did down here on the 3 day, like kind of what we're doing here. Like this is like this action.
I'm gonna share my chart real quick. I just wanted to.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you look at crypto though as a whole, and you look at the stock market, and I know we don't like to evaluate them the same way. Crypto is
Wait,
way
you guys
behind
can't.
the stock market.
You
right
guys can't see my chart. Never mind. We can go over that another time. You keep going, Tucker. I gotta figure out how we can. It's so annoying with me running it. It's like I can't because I'm not sharing it on Zoom. But whatever.
What were you gonna look at?
It's not pertinent. It's fine. You keep going.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think this stochastic action is gonna look pretty similar, so it's just kind of a grind down. Like, obviously, I don't think like we're gonna get this. I don't think we get this, right? But I think we get this, and we're possibly like what? We're possibly like right here. Down, chop, whatever, and then I think we probably get out of it. But just solely looking at what the stochastic looks like, you know what I mean?
I think at the end of this, Bitcoin probably like 2022K is the low, and then we roll up from there into the halving. But I think we still have upside till then.
You think the low is in on Bitcoin?
I kind of do, yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't.
I think it is personally.
I hope it is. I hope it is, and I hope it isn't. I hope it is in the sense that if we go back below that FTX low, I think it's going to be years before crypto recovers. I
It's gonna be a
think
nuke if it goes back below that.
I think it'd be bad for the space if we went below it. There's another part of me that's like, I'm personally fine with crypto being dead for a couple years if it means I get to buy Bitcoin at like 9 to 12,000. But
Yeah.
I don't think it would be
Way
a
too
good
bored,
thing.
man.
What did you
I'd be
say,
way
Tommy?
too bored. I'd be way too bored if crypto died.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
a lot of people would.
It wouldn't.
I don't think people would let it die. It's just there's too much attraction to it.
It wouldn't be good for the name because Bitcoin if Bitcoin was just dead for 2 years. But
I don't know. I mean, you could say the stock is bottoming on the daily, but we could be here,
I mean the monthly too. Monthly's up, bro. Monthly is up. I'm telling you.
No, but here, let me.
It could definitely roll sideways the stochastic and do a little more dropping, but like that monthly is up. Like you look at where the stochastic was. You're not gonna revisit those lows. You
Here,
see what I'm saying? It was the
if-
same thing previously.
If
Right.
Bitcoin gives you a good reaction at 26 or 25.4, I think you take the long.
Yep.
Look at that. Look at the monthly where we are right now.
Mhm.
115 top.
It's gonna be a higher low though. That's what that is. That's a
That's-
higher low.
Fine with me. Put it in a higher low right here. See ya. Little W. W.
Well, I
Maybe-
don't think
let's
it.
see it. Let's see
Yeah, I
it.
think that's what it looked like right there. But
I think-
it'll be a higher low. Yeah.
I don't know that I think that's gonna happen though. It's kind of like tough for me to see that.
What? The higher low?
Yeah, there's no support there, man. There's no reason for it to base out right there.
Yeah, that's true. There's a little bit there where he was at, but like I would argue that we're holding support where we're at.
But remember, this is crypto. This is or total. This is total. This isn't Bitcoin. So
Still, man.
I know.
Well, that's
No,
fine. Bitcoin's low could be in. I don't think the lows on alts are in, not even close.
Oh no, some
I
alts
think-
have already formed lower lows.
If Bitcoin goes back, let's just say we get one more scare and Bitcoin goes back to 19K and everyone's like, "Oh my god, Bitcoin's going to go to like $3,000" and starts freaking out. Altcoins could bleed 50% from here, like literally across the board. Like Total 3 could bleed 40 or 50% and Bitcoin could literally just stop right at like 19K and we could never
Hey,
go
throw
back
some
down below
fibs
that.
from the low to the high there.
on this,
Yeah.
you mean here
No, to the top of the market.
from the FTX low?
No. Yeah. FTX low to the top of the previous market. I just want to see where we're at on that.
786 called the top. We're right at the what 886, which is kind of a
That's a
Not-
support.
not really a fib, but you could call it one, you know. But
I mean, it's bouncing on it, and it found support there before when it dropped down to 19. It pulled right back above it.
what was the one I liked on BLX? I think it was like this, but then it was with the extensions. Hang on. We had like the ones.
Oh, pull it from the very top to the very bottom of previous market.
Let's see, that's the all-time high to the that low right there. Okay. So those are the extensions from the previous market cycle.
We could always put in another high on Bitcoin. Maybe alts run, maybe they don't. But then after that, you might just have like a prolonged bleed and then altcoins really die.
Yeah. That's what I'm more in the boat of. I'm not in the boat of Bitcoin taking more downside. I am in the boat of altcoins continuing to get wrecked. And that's atypical going into the halving. Altcoins completely get annihilated, and Bitcoin starts to take dominance when these altcoins dying.
Well, I mean, we got like a year before the halving.
That's what I'm saying. Like you got a long time for altcoins to literally just die.
And I wrote an article about this. It's on Because Bitcoin's website, and I don't know if people just don't want to talk about this because they're waiting to see what's going to happen. But the rough cost to produce one Bitcoin right now is like 22,000. Okay, so I think something pressing to discuss is as we're less than a year out from the next halving, assuming that cost of electricity and hash rate remains relatively comparable to where it's at right now. Like I understand it's a variable equation, and if half of the miners shut their machines off, we're going to get a difficulty adjustment, and then the cost to produce is going to go down. But like you have to kind of operate with these criteria that we have right now, knowing that it will change and it won't be exact. But let's just assume that the cost to produce one Bitcoin come 10, 11 months from now, it's going to be, $35,000 to $40,000 per Bitcoin. What do you think these miners are going to do when they're a few months out from the halving and they're facing a $10,000 per Bitcoin deficit, knowing that, oh, wow, okay, we're $10,000 below our break-even cost per unit. What do you think they're going to do? Are they going to start selling Bitcoin to stockpile cash, or are they going to try to pump the market? I think they're going to panic and they're going to start basically dumping all their Bitcoin. So it's just a thought, but I haven't seen many people discussing this. It's such an obvious idea that, the cost to produce is, it's going to increase exponentially over the next year, 12 to 18 months. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that, but miners dictate an abundance of the sell pressure, the ask side, on the order books. They control a large portion of the supply, and I don't know. A lot can change, before the next halving, but that's a really bearish catalyst in my opinion.
We saw them dumping already, haven't we? Like we saw them offloading a lot of supply. I'm sure they see exactly what you're seeing too, right? Like I'm sure they know what's gonna happen, and I think the older miners who have been around and know how to operate with a balance sheet full of Bitcoin are probably gonna front run this in 2023 and not wait till like Q1 of next year. So I mean, I feel like that'll just be like kind of constant sell pressure. Like I feel like they're not just gonna capitulate all at once, but you know, I mean, I don't know. I think they're just gonna start selling off Bitcoin, which is fine, but like I don't know if it'll be enough to cause a catastrophic event, or whatever. But
I don't know if
I
it's a
don't know.
catastrophic event or if it's more just price suppression. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to be a capitulation. It
I
could just be like an inability on the buy side to actually lift us up.
I would say this, like I look at it two ways. Like if you're under the price and you're getting dumping, you'll probably get a bunch of miners that'll end up getting wrecked and they'll end up going out of business. I also look at it in another way. When you're above cost to operate, you can only sell down to cost to operate. And at that point, you have to figure out how to survive so you don't go under cost to operate. So I would almost argue that if it's 22K, that would be the support for the market, because I doubt they would try to sell below that pricing because now they're operating at a loss with what they're selling. And I would also argue they might even hold support a little bit higher, because if price does move up in their favor, it's more profitable to keep a support range well above your, I guess you're call it like a liquidation point essentially for them, right? Because they're operating at net negatives when they're selling below that pricing zone. I think this is what kind of causes the having to entice an uptrend, is that these miners don't want to sell below what it's costing to operate the business, right? And they profit really well in the bull market because they're well above cost to operate. And that's what creates the tops on the markets, is miners just continually dumping into the market buying pressure and then eventually creating the top on the market. So I think we were at one point, keep in mind, we were at one point at net negative operating for miners. And I think that might be a key position to be looking at the market and be like, all right, are miners at a net negative for selling? And if they are, this might be a time to accumulate. It might be close to the bottom. And I believe that was near the bottom of the previous price range, is when we were at the net negative for mining to operate on selling. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I mean, look, Bitcoin's a commodity. During times of uncertainty, commodities return to their cost of production. So it's like if you can buy a commodity below its cost to produce, under the assumption that in the near future or not so distant future, somebody will be willing to pay more than its cost to produce, it's a good business model, right? But then, the question becomes like, I don't know. I'm not a mining expert. I think I understand it enough to sort of trade around it and forecast what I might do if I were them. But if I was sitting here and let's just say it's January 1st of 2024 and the halving is like, 4 months away, give or take. And I know that, my block rewards are going to get cut in half and Bitcoin's, let's just say, sitting at 25K. I don't know where it's going to be at that point, but let's just assume. What do you do there? What do you do there? Because you're still assuming the cost to produce is about 22,000 and Bitcoin sitting at 25,000. You're still making money. You're still netting per Bitcoin on your cost to produce. So I would take that opportunity to unload while I can in preparation of a dump. In anticipation of a dump, whether it actually materializes or not. I would kind of turn my trader hat on and be like, okay, I'm making money right now. I'm making $3,000 per unit for my cost to produce right now. I'm gonna sell and stockpile cash, knowing that I'm potentially facing a deficit in the next quarter at my cost to produce, and I'm gonna stockpile cash. And maybe we'll reinvest it in the business and pick up additional miners, or
I would say that you're risking your business model though, because if you're pressuring your own support or pressuring your own, it's almost like selling stocks and selling out of your company, right?
yeah, no, they
Like
have to raise cash. They
Well,
no,
here's the thing. Well,
but
it's like it's not that they're selling out their business. It's a short-term solution to a lull where what do companies do when they recognize that they're facing a burn?
Well,
They
that's
stockpile
what
their
I was going
cash
to get to.
reserves.
So, what if they already have cash, right? What if they've been accumulating cash through the bull run, and they have cash on books? I'm not saying all miners do, but I'm saying like F2 Pool, they definitely have cash on books. They sold a lot at the top,
Yeah, they were
right?
selling.
They were selling really heavily at the top, and they accumulated the entire time. So I would say cash on hand. The good miners will have cash on hand. The bad miners will be selling at negatives, right? They'll be pushing into price into pressure. But I can almost bet you the bad miners don't have as much hold as something like F2 Pool and
Oh,
size.
Man,
For
that is
sure.
gonna 3 or 4x, Tucker.
Oh yeah, easy.
That is like the easiest multiple ever. I might roll my Baba call profit right into Hut.
You see what I'm saying there, Max?
I do, yeah, I do. I just don't. I mean, it's just yes, we can monitor the publicly traded companies on a quarterly basis, but how many
And
miners?
you know me, I'm level headed, man. Like I'm really level headed. Like I'm not a super bull or super bear. I am thinking it more on the optimistic side, but it's like I would never pressure my business to come close to having to put myself in a position where I have to sell it at net negative. You always, I guess, a good business model, right? A good business model is to sell in the bull, kind of create capital and hold that capital. Just don't spend it, right? Hold on to it, wait for the bear to come, and then once the bear comes, use that capital to keep yourself afloat while you continue to accumulate. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Well, look, even if some of the bad or smaller miners go under, it's like they still have a lot of Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be an impact for sure.
Yeah, no, and I think that it would be an impact, but that impact could be absorbed to a certain extent. And also like Max was saying, it would lower hash, right? So your hash rate would actually your cost to operate would go down with these bad miners going out of business. And yeah, that so the price would reflect those miners going out of business, even if they sold price, then it would just come down to where that price is hashed down to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's kind of a complicated subject. I mean, I can see your way happening your way too, Max. But I think the ones that operate well, it's like the Microsoft and Googles of miners. They're going to do well. They've accumulated cash, they've held cash, and they know how to navigate the bear markets in a way to where they're not affecting price to a point where it's affecting their business model.
If I were a miner with a lot of money in Bitcoin, I'd try to pump the price to distribute.
yes,
Build up
that's
some
the
more
other
cash
option.
ahead of the winter ahead.
That's the other option. That one also makes a lot of sense.
It's like an unlock, basically, right? I mean, you could just view it kind of like that, pump it into an unlock, even though it's not the same thing.
Ooh.
It's almost like miners have to be traders in a sense, though, when you think about it.
I
from
know
a
that they've
business model
got they
standpoint.
definitely have like seriously good traders consulting for them. I 100
have to.
I know that they
You want to
do.
know something cool, guys? That I just was reading a message from my sorry to interrupt you, Max. I was just gonna say that the best order flow trader I know just started buying calls on Bitcoin.
Do you know the strike on them?
No, I don't know the strike. I mean,
It's 48K.
Need strike an
I
expiry.
doubt it's a super high strike, but I don't really deal with Bitcoin options. I imagine just volatility is at such a great valuation right now that we can go lower and it could do the thing that those calls I had back in, I think it was March, what they did. That was max pain, man. They went down 90% because I bought them so, like, I thought volatility was so cheap, and it was. They went down 90%, and then my entry still ended up pulling a 15x.
You guys see that BTCD made a higher high, right?
Oh yeah, it's a Chad. We're gonna retest 25.4, and then we're gonna go up.
Hey, Tucker, pull up BTCD.
BTCD. I wish I could just long BTCD without having to create a pair trade.
Check out that breakout.
I know. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's so clean.
52 is coming. What's the normal? Yeah, it's
You
check.
might be able to long Bitcoin dominance on Prime, but the liquidity is probably trash.
Terrible, yeah.
And that's a bounce too. That's a really good bounce there.
Ooh, ooh. Come
Yeah,
on.
he's about to get wrecked against BTC. Not price
Thank
probably,
you,
but
Will.
definitely BTC is about to outpace it.
Come on home.
No, you
No,
said it, Will. You
lots
said
of
wrecked.
ETH.
You said it. I heard it. You can't take it back.
ETH is gonna get destroyed as long as that sell and call strategy. It's like, I mean, there are so many institutional funds that are basically just
Yeah.
shitting all over the ETH volatility. It sucks. Eventually though, that's gonna have the inverse effect, and all those guys are gonna be forced to cover.
Yep.
But not right
That'll be
now.
the squeeze.
Bitcoin's probably got to squeeze first.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, Bitcoin will squeeze first, then Ethereum, then shitcoins. That's why I've been accumulating a lot of shitcoins because they're gonna pop.
Speaking of shitcoins,
Hmm.
that's what I want to talk about before we wrap things up.
You,
All right.
you want a
let's
ticker?
let's end on this note. What are we looking at, Tommy?
We're looking at Blur. I've talked
Ooh.
about this ticker constantly over the last.
It's a shitcoin.
That's the one that I tried to pull up earlier, by the way.
Do that. Nice.
Share my
Nice.
All right, guys.
I don't know. I've got a little different outlook on Blur, guys, from what I just saw there. I can't share my screen, unfortunately. But that kind of
Look
looks
at
like a
that.
sweep of the previous range high. Might be a deviation on the low time frame. You go to
It's
like
my
the
sc-
30-minute. Can you try to draw a range there, Tucker? Or
Oh
at least
wait,
just
I thought you were going to my screen, Max.
Oh,
Go to
sorry.
Tommy.
We're above value though.
Let's go to Tommy's. Let's go to Tommy. All right. Tommy, go for it.
So we're above value. Got RSI breaking above the 50 level. To me, this is the type of thing where you might see some choppiness in here. Maybe like a few dips, but ultimately you're gonna see a candle that just shoots right above 40 cents, I think. Consolidation, and then it's gonna go. Honestly, I think this token is very, very due for some mean reversion for starters. I talked about the unlock yesterday. It's a big reason why I bought. If an unlock that literally doubled the current circulating supply was not capitulation, then this token is going to zero. So I'm comfortable enough like buying in here with the the assumption that it won't make new lows. If it does, then whatever, I'll cut it. And I'm gonna assume it's probably gonna go to 20 cents, which is that's the KuCoin listing price.
Check out ApeCoin.
But I personally think, this is so overdue for mean reversion. My goodness. Either this is gonna serve as like this gap down, and these trend EMAs are going to push price to significantly lower prices and it's over, or this is the bottom. I think it's the bottom. It looks a lot like a more aggressive version of Aptos.
You guys running your computers on dial-up?
On what?
Dial-up?
Making fun of me.
Yeah.
Because
Making fun of you.
my computer hates doing anything. Wow. This is gonna really annoy
Tommy,
me, man.
what is this computer you're on,
This
man?
is not like a trash computer. That's the annoying thing about it.
It's
It's because it's not a Windows. That's
I
why.
had a computer that I was using before that is, total garbage that ran better than this. Yeah, I think we're doing something like this right now. So you should see a middle finger candle and then start to see some trend reclaims. And then hopefully, maybe my thesis actually plays out, but I don't know, man. Blur is a good pick. I also like Milady's as well, but the chart will take too long to load. So
It's all about ApeCoin.
Have a piece of it. Man, ApeCoin's going to zero.
Yeah, I need somebody.
Nah,
to
bro,
I
it's
need
at the
somebody
bottom.
to
What are
share
you
their
talking about?
screen.
Bro, it keeps making a new bottom.
Hold on.
I need-
I'll share my
hey,
screen. Give me just a
Yeah, I
second.
need somebody to. The way we have it fitted, somebody needs to share their screen.
All right. You see that right there?
Quanex.
Dog. No.
Did that just go to zero? Did that just rug?
No, it's still alive.
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Sure.
I can't even see it.
Wow, it's down a lot. I'm gonna buy some.
What happened?
What? And devs
I have
do
no clue.
Can devs do
I wrote the devs and they haven't responded yet.
Can devs do something? No.
Devs wrote me back an email. They said 4. Look, bro. I'm gonna show you guys some real alpha here. Okay. Bottom. Right there. Boom. That's your bottom.
Based on what?
Devs told me.
devs.
I remember Cold Blooded Chiller said like back when Ape was around $20, it would probably end up at 1.
Close. It's close.
All right, guys. Tommy, take us out, man. I think it's time.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, no, appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Appreciate the panel for coming on today. We'll be back for Market Talk later today to finish out the week. Hope you guys will tune in and most importantly, enjoy your weekends. If you enjoyed today's show and enjoyed, all of our various interactions, we'd love if you could check out the links in the description of this video, as well as the link in the link tree in our Twitter bio for access to for links to all of our premium content. But yeah, we hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday, a great weekend. We'll be back for Market Talk as